For your guidance, direction, and protection. We thank you for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. We thank you for depositing what the word you are deposited into us this day. That will allow us to stand against the fiery darts of the wicked one. We thank you that chaos and confusion will not have dominion over us. We bind the tormenting spirits that are speaking in our ears. And we command them to be silent in Jesus' name. We bind and come against oppression, depression, and suicide. We hereby evict and uproot the tormenting spirits, oppression, depression, and suicide from our lives. We call forth the mind of Christ to be prevalent in our lives. We loose the spirit of might and counsel. We loose the spirit of life. We loose the spirit of grace and supplication. We thank you for this being a day and week of victory. In Jesus' name, amen. Before we played, we sang the song Just Another Day. When we talk about the day we in, when the enemy starts talking to us, we have to let him know that the Lord is keeping us another day. Sometimes we have to sing that song to our own self. Just another day that the Lord has kept me. Because the enemy is trying to take us out. But the Lord is keeping us. And as long as the Lord is keeping you, He's going to fix everything that's out of order in your life. Because each day is a day that He can work things out. And even though oppression and depression and suicide is not only knocking on the door of the world, but when He comes to knock on your world as a believer, you can tell Him, just another day. I don't have to give up now. I can keep on going to another day. Our subject this morning is the wilderness. The wilderness. Oftentimes when we talk about the wilderness, we focus in on the 40-year journey that the children of Israel found themselves in, going from a state of enslavement in Egypt into the promised land of Canaan. Thus, the wilderness oftentimes represents a place of punishment or wandering because of disobedience. And anytime we find ourselves dealing with an issue longer than we expected to normally last, we call that our wilderness. The word wilderness derives from the notion of wildness. In other words, that which is not controlled, out of order. When we define wilderness, it's considered a wild or uncultivated region, a tract of wasteland, any desolate tract, a bewildering mass or collection, obsolete, empty, or pathless area or region, a confusing multitude or mass. For the most part, when we view or think about the wilderness, it has become a place or time of having to endure hardship, discomfort, or constant attacks. It is not seen or viewed as a place of comfort or blessing. However, today, we don't want to look at the wilderness from a negative perspective, but from a positive perspective. When we look at the wilderness, it is a place or season of training. It is in the wilderness where God instructs us relative to how we are going to live once we come out of our wilderness. It is the place where He provides and reveals to us things that are essential to our well-being, which will help us achieve or reach our destiny and purpose. We want to reach our destiny and purpose, but it goes through the wilderness. Leading up to and during the wilderness experience, the children of Israel, it started with the book of Exodus. So when we look at the book of Exodus, let's see what it tells us. Before going into the wilderness, God revealed Himself to Moses through the use of 10 plagues. This allowed Moses to know how powerful God is, as well as reveal to him what resources He has at His disposal. God builds us up or prepares us so that we can handle the wilderness. So what Moses went through the 10 plagues, God was showing him how great He is. And He was saying, because of this, and because I'm on your side, this is what you're going to take with you when you go into your wilderness. If we were to look back on our lives, we will know that before we found ourselves dealing with an issue, God has given us some type of insight or direction on how to handle the task before us. Even if that task was not immediately put to use. I'll go even further. When we went to school, we were taught various subjects, but every subject was not related to our career at that moment in time. But somewhere down the line, what we were taught in school now becomes useful for our daily walk. And sometimes when you're in school taking classes, you're saying to yourself, why am I taking this class? Because I don't see how it's going to be necessary to my daily walk. What does calculus and algebra have to deal with me living? When I say to myself, all I need is to know how to read and write. Know a little math. But do I need calculus?
No.
But you might find out later on that even though that calculus class wasn't necessary, you didn't think it was necessary in the beginning, you may find out, oh, I need it now. Egyptians released them out of Egypt. Released who? The children of Israel out of Egypt. God saw to it that they were provided with provisions to handle their journey through the wilderness. Here, God let us know that when life begins to lead us into the wilderness, He has put things in place to help us to endure. When children go to school, especially K through 12, when they go into a particular classroom, especially at the beginning of the year, they are provided with the tools necessary to be able to endure that 10 months of classroom training. What do they give? They're given a book that they will be using to help them learn what they're going to be studying or going through for that whole year. That was the provision that was being provided. And when the children of Israel went out, the Lord saw to it that the Egyptians gave them what they needed to be able to survive their journey. That's right. And He made sure He gave them more than enough. Right. So it was beyond what they can carry in their hands. They needed their hands and then had to have carts to carry everything that they was taking with them. While crossing the Red Sea to enter the wilderness, God became a hedge of protection for the children of Israel against the Egyptians who wanted to enslave them again. God wants us to know that He will be our protection in our wilderness. So in the wilderness or in the condition or in whatever that issue you're dealing with now, and you feel like there is no hope, God is saying, I am your hope. Amen. And I will take you through.
Look at that. Through.
What you're in now.
Look at God. My God. My God.
So you don't have to give into oppression, depression, and suicide. Even though oppression, depression, and suicide is knocking on your door. You just got to know just another day. And I'm going to keep you.
Okay. That's good, sir. Amen. I'm done. Another day.
When the children of Israel began to complain about the lack of food, the Lord provided for them.
Yes, He did. Yes, He did.
Here, God is letting us know that He will provide us every step of the way.
Yes.
He does not want us to be in the wilderness and have to fend for ourselves. He says, I will provide. I will provide for you. Why am I going to provide for you? I'm going to provide for you because you belong to me.
Yes.
I can relate this to as a parent and a child.
Thank you, Jesus.
The parent, especially in the child, as they're growing up, the parent will see to it that the child has everything they need. So when the child says they're hungry, the parent will sit there and prepare the food for the child to eat. When they need clothes, the parent will provide for the clothes they need for the clothes. They will do what they can do to make sure the child has everything that they need. It may not be everything that they want, but they're going to do their best to supply everything that they need. Because sometimes we want a whole lot of things. But God says, I can't give you everything you want. But I will give you you what you need.
Yeah. Great. Lord have mercy. So true. Mercy, God. Hallelujah.
As it pertains to providing the children of Israel with food, he gives them the instructions on how to obtain substance.
Yeah.
The food. He tells them to take what they need only.
Look at that.
The lesson being taught here is how to follow instructions, how not to abuse things, and how to do things in moderation.
Yes, sir.
When the children of Israel did not follow the instructions, abuse what was told for them to do, and chose not to be moderate in the collection of food, the food became spoiled and unable to be eaten. How many times have we gone to the buffet?
Look at it.
All you can eat.
Watch it.
All you can eat.
And we went got our plate, piled on the food,
Piled it on.
took the food to the table, started eating, and didn't finish everything on our table.
Yes. So true.
We took more than was necessary.
Yes.
And all we needed to do was take what we needed at the time. Because the provision was already there. It was take what you need now. Because if you take more, it's going to go to waste.
Lord, I love you today. God, you're good. Thank you, Jesus.
In other words, we don't need to be greedy.
That's
Amen.
That's it.
Because at a buffet table, after you can go back to the table
That's right.
over and over and
Over and
over
over
again.
again. Over and over again. Go back. Read. Good word.
While on their journey through the wilderness,
Yes.
they felt themselves having to go into battle.
Yes.
It was in the battle that God showed them the power of prayer and raised hands. Every time Moses' hands went up,
Yes.
the children of Israel were able to get the upper hand on the enemies. And every time Moses' hands went down, their enemies were able to get the upper hand on them. In our wilderness, God says, take prayer and praise with you if you want to come out victorious in your wilderness. During our wilderness experience, we are oftentimes running away from prayer and praise when we should be running to prayer and praise. He says if you want victory, prayer and praise is going to get you your victory. So how can you run from the solution to your victory? So in our wilderness experience, hands have to go up. And when hands are up, after glory the Lord and the praise to your hands going up, saying, Lord, I thank you for just another day. Taking me through what I'm in. And even though I don't know when I'm going to come out of my wilderness, I thank you for the victory.
Yes, Lord.
While in the wilderness, Jethro Moses' father-in-law, advises him on how to lead.
Yes.
Jethro provides him with instructions on how to delegate,
Delegate. Yes, sir.
manage,
Yes.
and prioritize.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In our wilderness, God is teaching us how to delegate,
Yes, sir. Delegate.
manage,
That's right.
and prioritize.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Glory to God on high. I know that.
In our delegation, managing, and prioritizing,
Yes, sir.
make sure God is first.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Always. Always. Good.
Sometimes we put God at the bottom of our list,
Have mercy, Lord.
and it says, that's not how you manage your wilderness. I'm first, and then everything else comes second, third, fourth, and fifth.
Amen. Thank you, Lord.
Jethro was letting him know that he did not have to do everything by himself when he was surrounded by capable people to help him. That's why in ministry you have to understand the ministry needs you.
That's right.
Because united, we're able to do really great things.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Jesus.
We are not in the wilderness by ourselves.
Thank you, God. Thank you.
We don't have to go it alone. When we can share the responsibility, we are able to do more with the time we have so that we don't experience burnout.
That's right. Good hand. Okay.
So if I'm doing more than I need to do, eventually your body's going to shut down.
Amen.
Because your body is telling you enough is enough.
That's right.
God calls Moses to spend time with him on Mount Sinai while he's in his wilderness. Here God is letting us know the value of fellowshipping with him.
Yes, sir.
It is during these moments with God, it is during these moments with God that he is able to pour into us. Proper guidance and direction comes from God.
Yes, it does, sir.
Proper guidance and direction comes from God.
Amen. Amen.
You can go to your friend, but after you go to your friend,
Yes, sir.
you better make sure you went to God somewhere in there.
Yes, sir.
Don't go to your friend and leave God out.
Amen.
Again, and when we prioritize things, he said, be first. So before I even went to my friend, I should have went to God first.
Amen.
When I go to my friend, in reality, when I go, he should be confirming what God told me.
Yes.
Just in case I'm on the fence. Because sometime in your wilderness, because of what you're going through, you can be, I don't know.
That's right.
So you go to God,
So go to God.
then you may go to your friend. Make sure you're in that process, you're reading the word,
Yes.
and you find yourself in the house of God so God can minister to your heart
Good.
to make sure you're getting what you need.
Yes. Hallelujah.
When we are in the wilderness, we cannot lean on what we know. We have to lean on what God knows. We will only find out what God knows through spending time with him and building a relationship with him. It is also on Mount Sinai where God reveals to the children of Israel the importance of reverencing that which God calls holy. That which God calls holy, we have to treat it as holy. And we cannot come to God any kind of way expecting him to be pleased. If we were to go into the courtroom, we know how we should act and how we should not act. It was in the wilderness where God provided man with instructions on how to live a victorious life. It's the commandments and the laws of God that help us to come out on top. And even though we're in a society where some, even in the body of Christ, are preaching that the law doesn't matter. They try to say what was said in the Old Testament doesn't mean anything. They want to focus in on one aspect of the Bible, the New Testament. The reality is, you can't take half the Bible.
That's right.
You have to take the whole Lord. What was said in Genesis is valid in Revelation.
Amen.
You can't take one without the other.
That's right.
You have to take the whole thing. When we buy a product, it normally comes with a manual. This manual comes with instructions on how to build the product, to make it come together. Or it may tell, that manual may make instructions on how to allow that instrument to last longer. It's the instructions. In the wilderness, God gives us the instructions. That's the command, that's the law on how to be victorious. It was in the wilderness where God told man how to come into his presence. God wants us to know that we cannot come into his presence any kind of way. When we go on a job interview, we know how we should dress. As well as how we are to converse with the one who we are interviewing with. Today, it may appear that I am dressed. But this is not how I would go if I'm going on a job interview.
Look at that.
That's right. If I'm going on a job interview, I need to be dressed. I need to be dressed appropriately, even if the job assignment that I'm going to go on will have me dressed like this.
Absolutely.
So I can't say this because the job, this is how I'm going to dress on the job. I come to a job like this. No. If I want the job, I better dress up.
Amen. That's right. Go to college everywhere. That's right. Yes, sir.
So God's saying, don't come into my presence in your kind of way.
Thank you.
Know who I am. Know where you're stepping into. And how are we going to go into God's presence? He said, you can't come into his presence in a state of gloom. You can't come into his presence with your mouth closed.
Amen.
He said, come into my presence with praise and thanksgiving. Get all in me. When the praises go up, you get in the praise. Don't be closed mouth. Closed mouth is not, that's not how you come into my presence.
All right. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah.
It is in the wilderness that God shows us that as men, we can easily fall prey to the situations that happen during our wilderness experience if we do not have a solid relationship with God.
Yes, absolutely.
That is why we have to read the Word. That is why we have to pray. That's why we have to get in God's face. Because it helps us become solid and firm in Him.
Yes.
Because when you're in your wilderness experience, it's like a tug of war pulling on you, trying to get you off track, off balance. It's trying to get you from, especially if you're a believer, it wants to help you, wants you to turn your face from God and to turn your face towards Him, the enemy. Instead of seeking after God, the children of Israel sought after a golden calf for answers. It is in the wilderness that we have to strive to fully know who God is in order to not stray from the things of God. As I said, the wilderness will make us forget who God is. When we start dealing with issues and hardship, we have the tendency to focus on everything but the source of our deliverance. God wants us to remember that He is our source. He is the answer to our problems. It was in the wilderness where God dealt with man relative to His relationship with Him. The question was posed, who's on the Lord's side? If we are with God, He says, follow me. But if we are not with Him, He says, I am not with you. His walk with God in His wilderness. Do we have enough trust, belief, and faith in God that He is going to, that for us that we can put our trust in Him, that we can follow Him? That's what we learn in the wilderness. When the heat is on, can you handle the heat? It was in the wilderness where God taught Moses the value of fasting. Moses fasted 40 days and communed 40 days with God, communed with Him. After spending time with God, the anointing was all over Moses. When we spend time with God, the glory of the Lord will be manifested all over us. Power and anointing comes through spending time with God. So while we're in our wilderness, He says, spend time with me. I will anoint you to go through your wilderness. I will strengthen you to endure hardship.
Hallelujah to the King.
It was in the wilderness where God identified a meeting place for the children of Israel. The glory of the Lord will be manifested at or in a particular meeting place.
That's right.
God has a meeting place for all of us to commune with Him. How excited are we to spend time with God in the house of God? Because that's His meeting place.
That's it.
God is not looking for one empty seat in the house of God throughout the entire world. He is expecting every seat to be filled because that's what He said, I want to commune with you. And He wants it to be filled with believers and unbelievers.
Amen.
So while we are in our wilderness, what are we learning? It's not about the hardship, not about the pressure, it's not about what we're in. Because that's because in life we're going to have to deal with that.
Yes, we are.
He says, what lessons are you learning while you're in your wilderness? Even though we don't like our wilderness, we must look at it as an opportunity for success and not defeat.
Hallelujah.
Oftentimes what we learn in the wilderness, we use it to get us out of the wilderness. And so we pray, we fast, we do all those things because I got to get out of the wilderness. And then after we get out of our wilderness, we take everything we learned to use that God deposited, we throw it away. And say, I don't need it. But what you learned in the wilderness was not for the wilderness. It was for after the wilderness.
After.
And because God has deposited you with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, you know that what I could go to use after the wilderness, I can use in my wilderness. So it's for the now and the after. Not just for the now.
All right.
So you in your wilderness, I'm in my wilderness, we all in the wilderness. And God is teaching us some things in our wilderness. Don't throw away what God is teaching us.
Amen.
Don't put it by the wayside.
There you go.
We must hear. We must be willing to hear, listen, and follow. So whatever God has deposited in us, keep it. Because the enemy certainly wants to steal it from us. He doesn't mind taking it from you. He doesn't mind telling you, okay, you're out the wilderness now, so you can I'm going to ease up on you. I'm going to let that thing go. No. You can't make yourself think that because you're out, it's all good. Because when you come out of one wilderness, there's another wilderness waiting for you to go into. Because as long as we are living life, we're going to go from one wilderness to the next. But again, the wilderness is not a place of punishment. It's not a place of discomfort. It's not a place of hardship. It's a learning place. That's how we take the negative and make it positive. That's how we stop focusing on everything that we got to go through and start focusing our attention on God. Now, if we don't value or follow or understand or not pay attention to what's being taught to us, then the wilderness will be a wilderness to us. It will seem like a place of punishment and torment and all that. Because we fail to do what we need to do. When a student goes to school, the teacher provides the instructions for the student. Because the teacher knows at the end of the week, or at the end of the month, there's going to, a test is going to come. A student can say, I'm not going to study, I don't care, I don't need to study, I don't do all this stuff. And when the test comes, the student fails the test. Why? Because in their wilderness, they didn't study. But in your wilderness, God says, I need you to study.
That's right.
Because I'm providing you the tools and I'm providing you with the resources to handle everything that the wilderness is going to go your way.
Amen.
The subject today is simply the wilderness. Whatever that wilderness is up to us. It can be a positive or a negative. God bless you.